Good afternoon, everyone. I welcome you all for today's session, which is hosted by Numerical Analytics Instruments Private Limited. Thank you all for joining with us today, where we are going to focus on the topic Algebra, Part 1. Let me first introduce myself. My name is Swati, and I am the trainer at Numerical Analytics. So, before moving ahead, let me first brief you about the company. Numerical Analytics is the leading provider of modern education technology and the analytical technology. Its presence in India is since 2008. The head office is in New Delhi and the main office is in Malaysia. Under the education technology, we are the sole distributors of Texas calculators across India. That includes the graphing calculators, the scientific calculators, and the financial calculators. We work with many educational institutes, schools, colleges, universities across India. Along with TI calculators, we are also the distributors of science equipments like the probes and the sensors of the vernier. All the vernier probes and the sensors are compatible with Texas calculators. Therefore, these calculators can also be used for science subjects as well. The other division of numerical analytics is the analytical technology, where we support the research analyst to avail the leading qualitative and the quantitative research softwares in India to make their work more productive. So these softwares are basically used in colleges, universities, etc. So if I talk about our partners are Texas Instruments, eViews, and NVivo. We have been dealing with many IB and IGCSE schools across India. So I've brought you some of the schools here. The list is really long. So I've just taken some of the schools who are the users of the TI calculators for a very long time now. So the oldest school, the Kodaikanal International School, all the three branches of American Embassy School, that is Chennai, Delhi, and Pune, are the users of Texas calculators. One of the reputed school in Mumbai, that is the Oberoi International School, the Indus Group, the Pathways Group, and the John Cathedral School, Stonehill, all are the users of Texas calculators for a very long time now. We will also be having Q&A session towards the end of the webinar. Also, this webinar is recorded and will be sharing with every one of you. So let us explore the concept of Algebra Part 1 by one of our T-Cube trainer, Mr. John Paul. So let me first welcome Mr. John Paul. So Mr. John Paul is currently teaching IBDP Math, Advanced Placement Calculus, and IGCSE International Math at the Cathedral and John Connon School. Previously, he has taught at some of the most reputed schools in India, like the Woodstock School, Kodaikanal International School, across all the three major international curricula, Advanced Placement, CIE, and International Baccalaureate. He has been using this TI products and is familiar with the TI ecosystem since 1997. He has produced his own activities for Desmos and is very keen to write his own activities on the TI-Nspire as well. He has also been awarded an Outstanding Teacher Award on the recommendation of University of Chicago College students. He holds a master degree in mathematics from Mumbai University and is currently pursuing on a course on mathematical mindsets from Stanford University. I welcome you, Mr. John Paul. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Swati. That's a long list, but I'm very intrigued. Like there's two or three students of my class here. Every time I see familiar names, I get a little nervous. But I see a lot of unfamiliar names, and normally whenever I see names that I don't recognize, I I try and do something. I think even my students will recognize this thing that I did with them during our bridge classes. I've encircled this word Nescafe, not because every one of us likes coffee, but that's going to be a magic word, all right? I'm when I say this word, when I say this word, I just want you to type something on the chat. uh, and and then send it only when I say the magic word. Okay. So till then, don't send. Just type it and keep. Don't send anything. And when I say the magic word, then you hit send. Is that all right? I think it's very simple rules. Okay. Question number one. What is the name of your school? Which school are you from? Type it down. The name of your school. Don't hit send. Are you ready? Okay. Nescafe. This is good for all of us to see where we are all from. Welcome. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, question number two. How long have you been using TI-Nspire? Don't hit send. Okay. How long have you been using TI-Nspire? 8 years. How long have you been using TI-Nspire? And the magic word is Nescafe. Nice. Interesting. 5 minutes in total. Is it 5 minutes or 5 months? I don't know. Very good. We've got a range there. 5 minutes, 6 months. Awesome. Awesome. So, the reason I asked all these things is because, I was, it's always a little good to know the background, to know where we are headed towards. We have this session in two parts, algebra session, and we are going to have it according to our syllabus, and I think it'll comprise of both, things that are common to both AA and AI students, year 11 AA and AI students. So perhaps there are some who have been using this for the 5 months that it might be pretty basic, and for those of you who've been using for 5 minutes or 1 month, maybe there will be some things that's new and probably even overwhelming. But not to be afraid of this wonderful technology. Just write down if there's certain things that you don't follow. We'll definitely have a Q&A session, but if there's, for whatever reason, you don't feel comfortable to voice your question, I would say just write it down and just shoot us an email, and we'll be happy to get back to you as soon as we can. And perhaps those of you using for a few months now, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, whatever that is, maybe there's something new that you can learn from here, or maybe there's something new that you can share. Those students who were talking about in that video that we saw, I really want to meet or hear from this girl, Anushka Basu. She said, I still haven't figured out how to draw Voronoi diagrams on the TI. Okay, I think I've been just gone the other way around. I'm just playing around with that rover, but I need to find out. So maybe during this series, some of you will come up with different ways, and I often encourage my students to do that. There are many ways to do it, work things out. Okay, and so maybe keep your minds open that way. That's where you will explore and find out really different cool things. After so many years of using the TI-Nspire, even now every day I'm intrigued by stuff that I come across. So there might be certain things that my own students who are here today, they probably find it repetitive, but just don't leave because of that. Those of you came, okay. There are things that we learn that will be new for all of us. Now, one more question before we go on, okay. When I ask the question, which model are you using, I want you to answer one of the two words, CAS or non-CAS. Okay, wait till I say Nescafe. Okay, wait till I use the magic word. Okay, when I say which model, you got to write down CAS or non, one of the two. Got it? All right. Which model of the TI-Nspire are you using? And the magic word is wait, Nescafe. Already we've got two responses. Non, Cas. Cas looks like my kid. All right, non-Cas. Okay. We're not going to make any differentiation here and there, but I still thought it would be good for us to see something from both versions. I mean, I know a number of you have mentioned non-CAS, and primarily that's because your school has requested or required you to buy the CAS. That's great. Okay, I this is the first year I emphasized all my students to buy the CAS, and this is a document that the IBS put up. This is the came out in October, November of 2019, and it's the calculator list of recommended calculators. And I think only after I saw this, I encouraged students to buy the CAS. I also teach AP calculus, and one of the latest things I found out about the AP in last Monday. There's a Monday night calculus webinar. Monday night for people in the US, but then it's kind of in the middle of the night or the early morning, something for us. But I found out that the CAS options need not be locked. They can use the CAS options even for their exams. I think that is something peculiar. In fact, this morning when I had my AP class, I told my students that, there also I told them to buy the CAS, but all the more. And why am I talking about CAS right at the beginning? Because I'll go on through some of the features. But I thought that I'll just share this document, and I can you can talk to your teachers also. You've bought it now, great. Now don't worry about it. But as you can see here, TI-Nspire selected CAS models, and one of the models that they've mentioned here is CX2. Everyone is right. All your teachers are right, and everyone says that the CAS model is shut down during the exams, and that everyone knows, right? Not just your teachers, not just you. Everyone knows, but then that everyone should include IB, because they are the ones who make the exam. They are the ones who made the rule saying that CAS needs to be shut down. So why then is the CAS recommended if it's to be shut down for the exam? I mean, if that is the approach, if that is the thought that we have in our mind, saying that exam ke din to CAS band ho jayega, to CAS kharid ke kya fayda? We think like that. I think we've been trained to think like that. We've been asked to think like that, but thankfully, I believe the reason I'm sharing this thing with you is that the IB doesn't think like that, because the IB is not just interested in the day of the exam. On the day of the exam, yes, the CAS option would be shut down, but the IB is not just thinking about the day of the exam. They just don't want you to learn for the day of the exam, not for just for those 2 hours or 4 hours of calculator sections. If you think like that, then yeah, the CAS need not be bought. But if they recommended the CAS, like they said, CAS mode disabled for the exam, but still, if the CAS model is approved, then they are thinking more than the exams, right? And today, at least towards the end, if not today, then over the period of time, I want to share some insights also. Yes, there's a large amount of people who are using the non-CAS, so predominantly we'll go with the non-CAS, but there are things about the CAS that we will discover and realize that IB has recommended calculators not just for the day of the exam. Okay, if I just thought I should just highlight that, and then we can move on with today's agenda. Today's agenda, what do I have? I have a long list, but because we have a range of people talking using the calculators from 5 minutes to 6 months, as we said, I really thought that was an exaggeration, but that was a really cool answer. I thought, at the end of the session, we should first of all know about the different apps. It's actually called an app, and it's called a handheld. It's not called a calculator. In the world of TI, we refer to as the handheld. And the reason we refer to it as a handheld is because it is a handheld computer. It is not just meant to calculate, not just for addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, or the occasional, whatever, find the definite integral, not just for those kind of computations. It actually is a smart device. And I think if at the end of today's lesson, if there's one thing you can forget about the features, the features are available in some book and literature and everywhere. If there's one thing you can carry home with you, that it is a smart device, and I need to use it smartly. I often do sessions with my students who are taking exam, like the grade 12 exam, who just took the mid-year exam. We did a session on how to use it smartly, because, like I said, there are many ways to do the same thing, and smartly really means how to recognize the time and how to do it. And today, at the end of the class, maybe at the end of the session, I will highlight something called how to use the Notes app. In my opinion, that is probably the smartest app. So let's start by first, talking about the different apps associated with the handle that's in it. So if you have your handle with you, you need to keep it with you. I mean, if it's charging or if it's somewhere else, that's okay. Please grab a pen or paper so that you can at least make notes of what's going on. I'll try and see if I can share these notes because my notes, I should try and type it because my students know that my handwriting is terrible. So I'll try and see if you'd like this notes, I can definitely share because I have got a bunch of stuff. It's not just this thing, but each of these points I've tried to use questions, and those questions, either they are questions made up or they're questions from past papers. So that's the agenda for the day. All right. So let's go one at a time. And I'm not pressed for completing stuff. We can always continue because this being done in parts. My main concern is that you should understand. All right. So at any point of time, please make sure that you, if you have a question, you can raise it, or one of the persons from the panel will be happy to answer that. If I happen to see your question, then I will definitely try and address that if that's pressing. Okay. So that would be our main thing. So let's just go over the different apps quickly, and I'll share my. Which one is CAS and which one is non-CAS? All right, let me just check. This is CAS, this is non-CAS. All right, cool. Let's share the CAS, non-CAS. This is the non-CAS screen, all right? I hope this is the non-CAS screen. Yes, it is the non-CAS screen. Okay. When you actually hit the home key, all right, normally when you turn it on, this is what you should see. This is what your document should see. And every icon here at the bottom refers to an app. Okay, there's a calculator app, there's a graphing app, there's a geometry app, there's a list and spreadsheet app, that thing which Anushka, that kid, talked about. There's a data statistics app. That's the Notes app. Okay, I'm glad they've colored it in yellowish gold or something. It is gold. Trust me, it is gold. And that's a Vernier app. And I'm very curious to figure out from Anushka Basu how they, in their school, have been using for chemistry and biology, and maybe call them to talk about it sometime. I'd like our school to say that. And plus one small correction, Swati, our school where I'm teaching, we've not been using it for ages. Okay, I mean it's just
Okay.
it's yeah. I mean that's a controversial statement. My students will probably have a smirk in their face when they'll So I thought I'll just clarify that. But anyway, here are the different apps. Okay, and it's worth exploring all of them. So I'll just get back to saying that I don't want a new one. And when you hit that new, you'll get the option for all the apps. We'll not go into Python right now. This is CX2. And if you have CX2 and if you're not seeing Python, it's probably because your operating system is not updated. Okay. And the way to figure out what your operating system is on that home screen, when you go on the settings and on number 4, it will give you the status. The status should say 5.2. That is the latest operating system. I believe it was released on the 9th of September, so just a month old. And some other day, perhaps not today, we'll talk about how to update that, because it will require making sure that software is there, link cable is there, and how to upgrade that. That can be dealt with some other day. But this is just to make sure that you have 5.2, because if you had the question, how is Mr. Paul Raj having that that number 9 on the on this thing, which is sorry, beyond number 9, which is add Python. Python is just introduced in the new operating system. And there's also something called program editor. I've not yet started with my grade 11, but my grade 9 and 10 have already started working on program editor. So there are lots of options for you to explore, even if you're just 5 minutes into the game, even if there's like you've been using it for years. I think, like I said, the more you explore, the more you'll get excited. Those two boys who talked about it, I don't know, they're from Heritage. They started their own YouTube channel. A lot of things they've explored on their own. So don't wait for the teacher to come and talk to you about it. There's lots that can be used and worked on it. And you'll realize that, truly it just opens doors to a lot more things. So let's start with the calculator page, our basic page, okay? Now, on the calculator page, for the IB exam, do I have a paper ready? One sec. I'll just, the IB requires all answers to be reported in 3SF, 3 significant figures. Where is the question paper? This is a paper 2. At the heading of a question paper and the instructions. Okay, I'll just show this thing to you. For those of you who are already familiar with these things, that's great. I'll just show you the paper. Okay, one sec. So let's go to a paper. Here we go. This is a paper 2 from a very old, but the instructions are pretty much the same. And it's old because the new form is 110 marks. Okay, this is 100 marks. It's an old form. So you can look at this instruction which says, unless otherwise stated in the question, all numerical answers should be given exactly. Exactly means no decimal, yeah, no rounding off, or corrected 3SF. Okay, so that's like a general rule. So unless otherwise stated means it might sometimes say 2 decimal places, or angles need to be reported in 1 decimal place, that kind of thing. Also, another instruction I wanted to highlight right now when you're looking at the paper is this thing. I'll come to this later. Okay, and what does this mean? What does this phrase mean? We'll come to that. I'll highlight here and keep, because this is also one instruction. People just go straight into the question paper, right? And this is paper 2. So I'll come to this later on, but I thought I'll just emphasize this part first, because it says all answers should be reported to 3SF correctly. Someone said something in the chat. Certain apps I didn't find add Python application. Absolutely, that's what I meant. I meant that it has to be in the new version. In the new version, and we'll talk about upgrading software some other day. And that's what I mentioned, that the new version, the operating system is 5.2, so probably it's earlier version. Okay, 4.5 or something was the earlier one. So for 3SF, what I'd recommend is that if you just go on the settings, and on the document settings, there is something called float 3. Float refers to significant figures, and fixed refers to decimal places. And to be on the safe side, always keep it to float. Float 3, that is. Okay. Also keep your calculation mode to auto. There's auto and approximate. Keep it to auto. Automatically the calculator calculates exact values. The angle, you can change it either way here, radians, degrees. But a smarter way to change the angle is if you go straight up here. You can see that on the new upgrades, even 4.5, you can just click here and it switches between radians and degrees. You don't have to go through the settings. Okay. So if it's on radians, that's fine. And even if it's on radians, if the question is degrees, you don't have to waste time. You see, the exams are all about times. So let's say I have in radians and I want to find tan. Let's not type in, let's just use the keys. I go to the trigonometry, I say tan, and I want tan of pi by 4. Okay, so I'll use control division. That's the shortcut to get that template of a fraction. And I'm going to go to pi. The symbol is pi. Use the pi symbol of the calculator. Pi over 4. Now, I think everyone should know that. Everyone should know that. That's radians, right? Pi by 4 radians. And when you hit enter, it'll give you 1. But if I just type tan of 45 and I insert the notation for degree, that's on the right hand side of G. If you can see, there's all these notations here. I typed degrees. Can you see that there's radians here? Excuse me. And I typed in tan 45 degrees, and it recognizes. It's a smart calculator, guys. Okay, so I won't say bother so much about the degree settings and the radian settings, but yes, when it comes to decimal places, you got to be careful on that. Okay, decimal and significant figures, because in the IB they will cut marks. They will chop off your marks. Okay, so without further ado, those are some bits of the notation, and as we go on, I'll talk about the other apps, the graphing app, the geometry app. We may not see it as much today, and maybe the graphing and this thing, and definitely the notes. We take a look at it today. So let me get back to my OneNote and take a look at what do I have in mind. I said basic settings, and we'll talk about that. Problems versus pages. Yeah, let me just hint on that and then jump straight to solving equations. Okay. This is a really good tool. I think Anushka, that kid, mentioned that also. Even at the time of the exam, you don't need to, you can just keep adding different problems. What do I mean by problem? Okay, let's just, close this thing down, do it again, and say I want to add a new problem. Okay, and in the new problem, it could be a new page or whatever that is. Okay, so I go to Control I or insert out here, and I can say I want to add a new problem. Okay, and the new problem could be a graph problem. Now see the difference. This is 1.1, this is 2.1. Okay, now if I insert a third problem, that would make it 3.1. Let's see, that's a calculator page. So 1.1, 2.1, 3.1. These are all different problems. Within each problem, I can have different pages. I believe it's like 99 pages. Swati, correct me if I'm wrong. How many pages within a problem?
Yes, sir, it's 99 pages
99
under a
pages. You can,
single problem.
yeah, within a single problem. So now when I add a graph page within one, I get 1.2. That was a calculate page in problem one. This is a graph page in one. They are linked. And we'll talk about this beautiful feature, how these pages are linked. Okay, something that does here, we can even link it here. Likewise, when I go to 2.1, I can add another document here. Okay, let's call it the notes page, since we wanted to see about the notes page. That's a notes page under 2.1. Okay, so I think even at the exam time, don't waste time going and creating new documents and making it long and long and long. Just use this feature smartly, and then whatever you denote will be there. Okay, now on the non-cast version, if you go on menu, oh, by the way, let me say what I always say about the menu. I always call the menu the lighthouse. You know, lighthouse is something like, when you're lost, that's where you run to, right? And look at the menu. Okay, this is the calculator page. If I go on menu, I'll see options related to the calculator. Options related to the calculator. Options related to the calculator. As opposed to when I go to, what is this page? This is a graph page, okay? Now let's go to the lighthouse, the menu. I'll see options related to the graphing page. Okay, in the same way, was there a different page I entered here? There's a graphing page. This is a notes page. If I go on menu, the same key, I'll see options related to the notes page. Okay, so the menu is like the lighthouse. You'll never get lost. Okay, I often tell students who use other brands of calculators, you got to remember a lot of shortcuts. But here you can just go to the menu, which is like the lighthouse, and everything is written there for you. So let's explore algebra. The algebra of your non-CAS has got these three options: the numerical solve, the solving system of linear equations, and polynomial tools. Okay, those three are on. Let's look at each of them. The numerical solve, when you use that option, starting from any simple equation, x plus 3 equals, let's say, 7, you have to put a comma x. That literally is the syntax for every TI app, even other models of the TI, okay? Talks about in terms of x. So something as simple as this can be solved using the numerical solve. Now you'll say x plus 3 equals 7. Why do I even use the calculator? I don't need to use the calculator for x plus 3 is equal to 7. Good question, and I don't think you should either. But let's just look at a different question, because sometimes, of course, in our IB, you'll not have algebra as a separate thing as questions. You might have a trig, like x squared is equal to sine x, or you might have an exponential equation, which can also be solved using the numerical solve. So I'll take a look at these examples one by one quickly. Okay, I'm also keeping an eye on the time. So let's look at 2 to the x is equal to 3x. So I go to my nsolve, numerical solve, and here we go. So I can either type in nsolve if I remember the commands, and I'm going to say 2 to the power of x is equal to 3 times x. Okay, 3 times x, and I just put comma x. Remember, that's, excuse me, I just say comma x because that's the syntax. Remember, after every equation you say what is the variable we are solving for. So comma x, and if I hit, that would give me my solution. All right, so it is not just simple equations like that, but even if you have fractional equations, remember, you go to menu, algebra, numerical solve, and there was a fractional equation that I had. Let me just quickly look at what that was. 2 to the x minus 3 minus 5 minus x minus 2. Okay, I can make up some equation there for you guys. And the fraction, remember, the fraction template is one of the coolest template I like. Okay, so it's control division. Control division gives me that. Okay, so I can just enter some rational thing, 2 to the 2x minus 3 over, let's say, 5. Use the arrow key to come out of it. Minus, let's put another fraction, control division, and I can just call that, I don't know, something like, let's just put x, and I can put some other denominator equals to yeah, just call it some number here, and then comma x for my syntax. Right, I hit that. Any kind of equation, but any kind of equation, you got to be careful. What about a quadratic equation? A quadratic equation, let's go to algebra, numerical solve. Okay, x square minus 4x plus, let's say, 3. Okay, comma x, because that's the syntax. And there's a problem. must be an equation in it. So NSolve is probably not the best way to go about to solve anything with a quadratic. NSolve is not the best way to go. The better way to go is if you use the polynomial tools. Okay, if you use the polynomial tools and find the real roots of a polynomial, that's a smarter way to solve an equation like that. Here I go x squared, the same thing. Okay, so if I say x squared minus 4x plus 3, the same thing, and I say, should I put equal to 0? Polynomial roots of an equation, let's put equal to 0 and comma x. Okay, a sec. Okay, if you make an error like that, you can use the top arrow key, this arrow keys that are here, you can use the top arrow key to go back. Okay, so I use the top arrow key once, last entry, top arrow key the second time, previous entry, bring it back. I can just take out that equal to 0. I think there was a wrong syntax there, and that will give me the solution, both the solutions. Okay, so linear equation use the option for NSolve, whereas can you repeat that? Sure. The quadratic, you mean? You mean the quadratic, Aditi? Yes. Okay. So a quadratic, it's not. You won't get it on the NSolve. But for a quadratic, you use the polynomial roots. Okay. That's again on the menu, and you go to algebra, and under algebra you can go to polynomial tools, and you can say you want to find the real roots of a polynomial. Okay. If you're finding the complex roots when you're doing complex numbers, we can stress that there. Okay. So you can go there, and there you can enter the syntax. Do not put equal to 0, the mistake that I did. Okay, so let's enter another quadratic, 2x squared this time, 2x squared, and let's make it something like 5x. I hope this has roots. Okay, I'm just making up things. Minus 1. God, please. Yeah, there you go. Even if it's in a decimal place. So you got the two roots just like that. Polynomial roots will help you find the quadratic. Okay. So we saw 2 of the 3 options there. I'll just clear the screen. To clear the screen, you can right click, and the right click on your handle is control menu. Control menu, right click. Okay, that way you can clear the history and you've got a clean slate. All right. Now there is also an option to solve linear equations and simultaneous equations, right? Linear equations, linear simultaneous. So solving a system of linear equations, you can have 2 equations, 3 equations. You can even change the variable to a and b as it's given in your question. Okay, so it will give in terms of a and b. So let's just make up 2 equations, 2a plus 3b. Let's say that's equal to 11, and let's say you have whatever 7b minus 2, not 2, 9a is equal to, say, what is this, 4. Okay, there you go. So linear equations using the simultaneous linear equation. So menu, sorry, not here. You go to menu. Okay, you go to menu, algebra, solve system of linear equations. That's how you solve linear equations. Now let's look at a question from the IB paper. I'm a little concerned about the time also. I don't know, I think we just I think either I planned too much, but as I said, I'm not pressed for time, but I want to give you guys also some time to ask questions. So let me take at least one question from the past paper. Okay, so based on the algebra sub menu, okay, we just saw a couple of examples, and I wanted to talk about this. Maybe I should talk about this at some point in time, but let's look at a question from this paper. Graph I'll talk about later. I wanted to look at this actually. It says solve the simultaneous equations. It says solve simultaneous equations, but I will use the graphing menu. That's why I put it up here using the graph app. Was there some other question I thought I pulled out? Just one sec. Give me a sec. Yeah, so maybe let me just talk about the graph quickly, and then we can do that. This feature called assigning variables, in my opinion, as far as algebra is concerned, this is very important. Okay, how you assign a variable or a function. It is for finding the values of a function without having to retype the expression again and again and again. All right, so let's look at that part also. So one more handy thing you can keep in mind for today. All right, so if I go on my screen, and let's say I want to define a function. Okay, so I said f of x. Notice the syntax: control and the key on the right hand side of 9. It's actually called the catalog. So when I hit that, I get this symbol, colon and equal to. That kind of defines or assigns. Okay, so if I just assign any kind of a polynomial function, okay, so I say x to the power of 4 minus 3x cubed plus 2x minus 2, yeah, something like that. It should say done, meaning it's defined. It's defined. So it's any polynomial function. Okay, I deliberately have no square term there. Now, the reason this assign symbol is so cool is because then if I want to find the value of anything, like say f of 2, I just put f of 2 and the value is computed. I just say f of whatever, even if it's 0.002, you want to find, you don't have to enter it again and again. You don't have to put 0.002 to the power of 4 minus 3 times 0.002 to the cube. You don't have to do these things again and again and again. All right, so this assign key is going to be really, really helpful. And watch what I'm going to do with this assign key. You've assigned it on the calculator page. I added a page here, a graph page, right? I added a page, and remember I said they're linked. If you've assigned something here, you can call it here. So to graph a function, basically, you have the way to do it is, remember I said you have to go to menus like the lighthouse. You go to the menu, and you can say graph entry edit, and you can say function. That's the way to go, all right? But the shortcut is tab. So when you're on the graph page, if I hit tab, and watch what I'm going to do. I am not even going to enter the whole thing. This is the power of the assign key. You go here, and you just say F, and it becomes bold. And once it becomes bold, the calculator is recognizing that this has been assigned. And the moment I hit enter, it's graphed for you. And anything that you want to do with a graph, let's say you wanted to find the minimum point, the maximum point, or the intercept, or something like that, you can do it here for the same function that was defined there. That's the power of linking. All right, so I've linked two pages within the same problem. That's within the same problem, because see, if I entered a new problem here, there if I type F, you'll not see it as bold, because this is a new problem. You have to define something new here. But here, the moment I typed F, you saw it in bold. So to find some of these features of the graph, again, it's pretty intuitive. You just go on the menu, which I call the lighthouse, and you look at analyze graph. And whatever you want the zeros are the roots. You want the 0, you have to just give it the domain or the interval between which you want the 0. So I want the 0 between these two values, between the interval that x-intercept is negative 1, 0. And if I want to find the 0 or the x-intercept here, I just do the same thing. I go in menu, analyze graph. Remember, menu is my lighthouse. Okay, whenever in trouble, go to menu, and then I want the 0 between these 2 points. There's a decimal value there. Okay, and in the same way you can find points of intersection. So let's say you want to enter another value here, and we say we want a straight line, y is equal to x minus 7, and a straight line is drawn, and there's 2 points of intersection there. You can do the same thing. When in doubt, go to menu. So you go to menu, and you can go to analyze graph and still find the point of intersection here. However, I like the geometry option here, which can find points of intersection in one go. All right, so it just says, here comes the hint. It says click on the first graph, then click on the second graph. So I'll do that again. All right, so geometry is much cooler to find the point of intersection. I go to geometry, points and lines, and intersection points. I just click the two graphs, first graph and then second graph. Look at that. The moment I've clicked the second graph, the 2 points of intersection are indicated. Okay, now why did I show the graphing app? Why did I show the graphing app to solve an algebra problem? I often tell my students that check your answers. Check your answers, how you do it through the algebra. So I think let me just solve one question, then I can give you time to answer for questions, okay? Because I've talked for far too long right now. So let me go to one question. When I say one question, I'm talking about one of the board papers, okay, where a feature that we talked about, assigning and graphing app, can be used. This is pretty simple. This is sketch the graph and find the point of intersection. Solve the equation means point intersection. If there's time, I'll solve this later, but I wanted to solve the one with the simultaneous equation because I spoke about it. There's a little bit of algebra that needs to be done to this question before we take it to the graph. Okay, so nowhere does it say graph. It just says solve the simultaneous equations. And simultaneous equations, you try entering this thing on that simultaneous, it will not do, because it is a non-cast version. It will take only linear values. It will not do that. Therefore, You need to, that's why I said you need to use it smartly. At the time of the exam, these are the features you got to use it. So you can recall your rules and say, okay, that's ln of y by x is equal to 2, which is the same thing as saying y over x is equal to e to the power of 2, which is the same thing as saying y is equal to x times e squared. That's my equation 1. All right? Second one, ln of x squared plus ln of y cubed is 7. So that means ln of x squared over y cubed is 7, which means x squared over y cubed is e to the power of 7, which then means x squared over e to the 7 is y cubed, or y is equal to the cube root of x squared of e to the power of 7. That becomes my second equation. Everyone seeing this? Everyone seeing this? Okay. Now, they said solve these two equations. Solve these two simultaneous equations. And if you all know, simultaneous equations is basically, we can't see it. You can't see these equations? Is anyone can see this equation, sorry? Or not seeing? Swati, can they see? Can you see?
Yes, we can see the screen. Yeah, now Krish can see the screen.
Basically what I did, Krish, is x square multiplied by, oh yeah, it is multiplied. Thank you. My algebra mistake. Imagine me doing yeah, it is multiplied. That's log mistake. Thank you so much for spotting it out. Okay, let me just change that. Let me just change that quickly. All right, this just happens when it's x square y cube, x square y cube. Thank you, Krish, for spotting it out. So let me just change that nicely. X squared times y cube should be equal to e to the power of 7, and y cube or y should be equal to the cube root of e to the 7 over x squared. Why do I feel that I wrote the same expression but I wrote something different? I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, thank you for pointing that out. All right, those are the two equations. Now, because it's on the calculator paper, you don't have to worry about doing the rest of it by hand. You can go straight to your calculator and you can say, all right, now I know how to graph. Okay, so I'll put it on the second page. Okay, the way you enter is you hit tab and the entry line comes in. I'm just going to type x times e to the power of e square, that is. Okay, so I'll say x times e square. E is found here just below the 10 to, beside that, that's e square. I just hit enter and that's drawn for me, and I hit tab for the second entry. I'll have to put cube root. Just watch carefully how you enter. Okay, so it's control and I think it's this key, so I'll get cube root, and here I want a fraction, so I hit control and division sign, and it's e to the power of 7. Go use that key again, e to the power of 7, and I want x square there, so that's x and square, and that should give me something interesting. There you go, whatever that something interesting is. And you know what are simultaneous equations, right? You know that it's the point of intersection, so that question can easily be solved by just going to menu, geometry, points and lines, intersection points, choose the two graphs, and there you got it. Okay, now I'll go back to that that rule I said in the IB paper, which I highlighted, and I said I'm going to come back to that later. I'll come back to it right now. Okay, now we used a graphical technique for an algebraic question. Graphical technique for an algebraic question. Let's go back to that, what I mean by that. All right, so I'm going to that question paper that I had, which I had highlighted for you all. Okay, look at what that question says. It said answers must be supported by working and or explanations. In particular, solutions found from a graphic display calculator should be supported by suitable working. What does that suitable working mean? For example, if graphs are used to find a solution, you should sketch these as part of your answer. You just don't write using GDC. You should sketch the graphs. Why? Where an answer is incorrect, some marks may be given for the correct method. So yeah, you can use the graphing method, but what is this instruction saying? That whatever you see on the graphing calculator, is almost like taking a snapshot. Draw that, sketch that, Show that point of intersection. And you know what? You'll get the full credit. Now, I'm going to stop here, not because I'm done speaking. If you let me, I can speak for 2 hours non-stop. But you know what? Uh, I'll throw it open for any questions that we talked about either today or anything that is concerning you. Yeah. Any questions from whatever we discussed? I can continue later also, by guys, next week also. But I just want to make sure that each of the features, because we've got people from 5 minutes to 5 months. So I thought I'll just tackle slowly rather than rush through it. Any questions about what we've done so far? If not, I'd really like to show the notes page. If not, if there is a question, then I'll answer that. Happy to answer questions. How do you connect? What is the question? Sorry, my eyes are. So how do you convert to decimal from? Okay. So on the calculator page, so let's go to. Was it decimal to fraction or fraction to? What did he say? Decimal to fraction, huh?
Yes, decimal to fraction, sir.
Okay, so whatever the number is, you go on menu. Remember, menu is the lighthouse. Go to menu. Okay. Now your question is a number question, so we go to number, convert approximate to fraction. Okay. When you hit that, you get the answer. Both ways can be done. All right. Converting from decimal to fraction or fraction to decimal. Someone said no questions. Okay. Thank you so much. I would really. Okay. There's one more question. Now I can. There are multiple websites or softwares. Education.ti.com for that for the website. Are you talking about the website to download the software? Or which software are we looking at? Yeah, education.ti.com. Yeah. How do you create a new problem? Control I, or you can go and dock. Okay, even in this page, you can go and dock, and you can say insert. Can you see that insert? And insert means you have that number one is insert a new problem. Then you can insert a new problem and whatever page you want to insert there. Okay. I'm going to add a notes page since they've asked about that. I'm going to add a notes page. Please allow me to talk about the notes. Okay. I really found this really cool. Is everyone okay with that? The notes page. There are many links available when I go to that site. Yeah, Kamal, let's answer his question. Can we answer Kamal's question quickly? What software? Do you want to unmute yourself and ask that question, Kamal? Would you like to unmute yourself and ask that question?
Yes, I'll just unmute Kamal.
Because you know what? Ultimately, for me, students are more important. What questions they are asking, I want to make sure that that's answered. I can race ahead with whatever. Kamal, what do you want?
Yes, Kamal, you can speak up now.
Yeah, hello. It's a pleasure to meet you. When I go to the link shown when I get the product, there are many links or softwares to download. There are many options when you go to the site.
So, which software are you looking for? Are you looking for the connecting software or the software that's coming that comes with the student software?
Yeah, the student software, the one which comes with the calculator when you get it.
So you go
Yes.
on the sorry, Swati, go ahead.
Yes. Kamal, I'll just send you the link on the chat. So you have the license key, right?
Yeah,
Yes. Okay, I'll just send you the link. And which laptop do you have? Is it the Apple one or the Windows one?
it's Apple MacBook Air.
Okay, fine.
So I think you go on downloads all software, okay,
Yes.
and you have to choose the appropriate. Um,
So yes, Kamal, I sent you the link. So just click on the link and select the Apple option and you can download it. And Neil, when you talk about the license key, once you purchase the calculator, you will get a booklet kind of thing with the packaging. So where you can have the perpetual license key.
when you buy the calculator, you'll get the license key there. Also, Swati, there are some students. There's at least one student who lost the license key. What should they do? I mean, or they don't know where they've put the box. Is there any way to retrieve the license?
No, sir, because it is unique with every calculator that they purchase.
There's no way to track it down because you see sometimes they have this some number or something in the, like even phones have some special number, na? Like
Yes, but there is no other way. I mean, because it comes unique with every single calculator.
there's a,
So yeah, we make sure that the students keep it with them.
yeah, please students write it somewhere that's safe, and yeah,
Megha, you can select anything. Either will work for Windows.
yeah. So yeah, you can choose whichever calculator. I think most of you said CX, so CX you can choose and then follow the instructions there. All right. Do we have time, Swati, or should I say bye bye?
No, maybe 5 minutes. We
Maybe
have a
5 minutes.
question from Jatin. Yes, Jatin, you can
So,
speak up.
Yes, Jatin.
so where do we need to put the license number and all? Because I'm not aware of this because this is like just been 2 weeks since I purchased it and I'm new to IB.
Okay. So have you downloaded the software?
No.
Okay. First, you need to download the software. Let's answer your question. I'll keep that. I'll keep my notes page for the next week. Okay. Maybe you can all come up with a software, and then it'll be fun to do that. So once you go on the website, the link that is shared with
Jat, yes, sir. Jatin, I've also sent a link on the chat. So using this link, you can download the software first.
Okay, ma'am.
depending
Yes.
upon whichever I think you guys are CX2 cast, right? So if you choose that
Non-cash.
non
CS.
so the non-cast version, it will not say non-cast, it will not even use the
So
word.
it's here,
Yeah.
Mr. John Paul, sir, it's here. The second one, if you see TI-Nspire CX student software,
कहाँ पे है?
matlab, the same screen.
हाँ.
In the first column, the second one, second option.
Student software full
Yes,
version.
full version. So full version means you will have to input your license key.
I think after they download and when they're installing it, that's when it asks
Yes,
for input.
yes. Once you install, when while you're installing, then it asks for the license key.
And please, I would strongly recommend using both. Huh? I would strongly recommend both in hand. But since we don't have time for the notes page, I thought I should end with a bang. Meaning, I should just show them a little bit about my favorite CAS. This is the CAS version, guys. This is, I know some of you don't use the CAS, but I'll just show you a little bit about the CAS. Okay, I use the CAS widely in my class. I tell my students it's a great way to learn. Some of us are so bent on teachers to give the answer. What is the answer to this thing? I tell my students, what? Look at this. Okay, I can just type in domain. All right, I can put in some rational function. Let's say that is, yeah, what should I say? X minus 2. Oops, that should be minus, sorry. That should be x minus 2. And I want somewhere called x. All right, now we all know that. And remember that universal idea, comma x. Okay, there you go. All right, now this is a CAS version. This is only available in the CAS. If I do the same thing which I did with you guys about defining, if I just say f of x and I assign a function, if I assign a function, and let's me just make it something like, x square, we all have done quadratics, I know, plus 2x, oops, sorry, plus 2x minus 3, okay? I have defined a function, and now I want to find the domain of that function, okay? Again, I can say domain of f of x, oops, f of x, comma x. There you go. All right. Now watch. Now watch. Yeah, Jatin, sorry. Go on.
So I wasn't aware anything about the license key and also as soon as I got the box I tore it and like you started using the calculator. So I don't know if I have it or not.
That is my concern as one of my students in the AP class, Jatin. I don't know. I told her that I'll ask the people in numerical analysis if they can help. I don't know.
So like so is it necessary to have the software and all to use?
Uh,
Like I can use the calculator without that. No?
no, you can. Absolutely, you can. But how are you going to download any upgrade to the software operating system?
I don't know also.
It has to go via the software, no?
Yes.
And you know what, to use it optimally, meaning for your IAs and all, maybe someday we will talk about how this calculator can be used, all the different features, I that is one reason I recommend students using both. I do also some activities. There are some TI-Nspire activities, which I think it's better off doing it on the software than the handheld because of the screen size. Just because of the screen size. Okay, the last blow. Are we ready for the last blow? I have typed FY, but under the same name domain. Under the same name domain. FY. And I get the same, but you know what this is doing? This is actually finding the range. Obviously, you guys know that that's a quadratic, and but that's actually finding the same domain. Actually, range. I'm sorry. I think it should be f of x, y. Is it f of x? Yeah, that's actually finding the domain. All right. So I don't want to overthrow a lot of things. We can even graph the inverse without actually even having to define the inverse. So next week, I think let's just
Yes. So our next webinar will be on 17th of October. That will be the algebra part 2.
yeah.
And thank you everyone for joining for the session. And I hope this was helpful. And we'll come back on 17th of October on algebra part 2.
All right, children. Thank you so much.
Same time, 3 p.m. Thank you, Mr. John Paul, sir.
Thank you, Swati.
Okay.
Swati, if you can find the key, it'll be great. There's one student.
Yes, I'll try for Jatin. I'll just check with TI if we can do something for him.
There should be some way. There's got to be some license number or something on the instrument itself with which they should be able to track the license key.
Yes, sir. Definitely, we'll check with TI team once. Yes, Jatin. I'll send you the link again. Just a minute. So this is the link. So for time being, if you don't have the license key, kindly check for the option of trial version. So you can use it for a month. May I know which school are you from? Indus. Okay, fine. Okay, thank you once again everyone for joining.